Hola, hola, buenos dias, and welcome back to the Unapologetic You podcast. I'm so happy that you're here again together with me, spending your time. And of course, I am still Kiana van Deursen, your coach in sexual authenticity, liberation, and empowerment. As again, I am beyond excited to have you here because today we're going to be talking about something that is actually extremely subtle in our lives. And because it is subtle, it is also so incredibly powerful. Let's talk shame, shall we? Shame does not usually feel like shame. As we have said in the last couple of weeks, shame shows up in so many different ways in our life. In how we suppress ourselves, in how we suppress our desires, in how we don't say what we want to say, and in so many more aspects. And as you and I have already come to the conclusion, shame so often rules our lives. And that is something that we want to break free from. We want to break free from this big player in our lives, using us as a puppet in our own story. But yeah, as I said, shame does usually not feel like shame. Because if it did, you would immediately recognize it. And you would try to resist it, and you would try to question it, and you would maybe even change it. But the thing is, it just doesn't show up like that. It shows up like normal life. And it sounds like, as I just said already, I'll stay quiet. I don't want it to make it weird. I don't want to sound weird. I'll just go along with it. I shouldn't say that. I'll do it later. I don't want to be too much. I don't want to be too little. Right? We've all felt these feelings many, many times in our lives. And I'm not saying it was always shame that it popped up as, but very, very often that indeed was the case. And for this, I want you to notice something here. Because there is nothing dramatic in these sentences at all. There is nothing obviously wrong in these sentences either. No, nothing that screams for attention. And that is exactly why it works. Because shame doesn't need that intensity. No, it needs repetition. Anything that can be learned needs repetition. And as we've said in the last couple of weeks, shame can be learned, and therefore we also have the luck that we can unlearn it. Now, it needs repetition in small moments of self-editing, repeated over time, until these moments they stop feeling like decisions and actually start feeling like personality. And I really want you to feel into the distinction, because there is just such a huge, huge difference between I'm someone who's quiet, and I learned to be quiet in order to stay safe in expression. Like totally two different things. One is a choice and one is learned behavior. One feels like identity and the other feels like history. And most people, honestly, they live their entire lives inside that first version without ever questioning whether it was learned or not, without ever questioning whether it was necessary or not, and without ever questioning whether it still serves them in their daily lives. And I really want to be honest with you on this one. You are probably not even noticing how often you are not expressing yourself, because it actually takes an active reminder in order to see that. And that is the most important part. Yeah. You don't feel the absence, you just feel the result. You feel a quiet tension in your body, maybe even like a sense of holding, or a feeling that something inside you feels a little bit paused. And then your mind tries to explain that in many, many ways. Tries to explain it in like, I need more confidence, like I'm not confident enough. I need to work on myself. I need to figure things out. I need to plan it better. Right? I need to improve. Yeah, sadly, and also in my case, personally, shame does often hide in perfectionism. And that is something, that just holds us back from living the lives that we want. But what if none of that is the actual issue? Yeah. What if the issue is just not expression, but what if the issue is safety? The last couple of weeks, we have been talking so much about safety and how we need to feel safe in our bodies, feel safe with ourselves, feel safe with our partners, in order to really express ourselves in the way that we desire to. you know? Because our systems are not resisting for no reason, right? Our systems are protecting us from something it once learned was just not fully safe to express. Because it got hurt, it got an attack, and therefore it just protects us. And here is where this gets really, really important. Because if you need to, or if you try to override protection with willpower, you usually create more tension. Super interesting. It's the same with kite surfing, right? You have to lean back, you have to lean into it in order to create more tension. Yeah. And that's the thing. If you try to override protection with willpower, you create more tension, not the freedom that you truly desire. And I personally think that this is one of the reasons why so many people feel so stuck. Because they're trying to think, use their head. Like literally trying to think their way out of a body-based pattern. How can you think something that you need to feel? And that is something that I really, really want to focus on, because this is where we start shifting into something totally different, right? We're not forcing into expression. We're not demanding openness. No. We're just simply working with a system that decides whether expression feels safe in the first place. Feeling safe. That's it. Because if you do, you can start doing whatever you want. And also that is something that I work on a lot. I work on that a lot individually, but also with my clients and my one-on-one coaches. And also inside the unapologetic path. Because this whole safety and awareness and embodiment and intensity is just not a concept, yeah? And we also don't use it as a concept. No, we use it as a lived experience of slowly, gently, and safely letting your system realize, hey, I do not have to hold myself like this anymore. I do not have to do it anymore. And that's it, basically. Just notice what this brings up in you today. Just notice the feelings. Just notice the tension in your body. There's no need to change anything yet. Let's just create awareness for this. Yeah, shall we? All right. Just know that you don't have to hold yourself like this anymore. There is support if you're willing to reach out your hand for it. Thank you so much again for being on this beautiful podcast with me. This just really came straight from the heart this moment when I woke up this morning. And I just wanted to, share these feelings with you, share these thoughts with you, and, maybe give you something to reflect on, to touch base on. And I'm really, really grateful that you decided to spend your time with me again. I'm sending you so much love from the Unapologetic You podcast. And I'll talk to you next week. Adios.